Okay, so good evening, everybody. We are here today with Dr. Ajit Kulkarni. We are beginning the series with Homeopathy 360, which is called Beyond Boundaries with Homeopathy 360. Dr. Ajit Kulkarni, he's a brand. I need to introduce him officially to all of you because everybody knows this name. Yet, to tell the people who do not know him, Dr. Kulkarni is a veteran homeopath and a famed international teacher. He has been known in the world of homeopathy for his contributions to classical homeopathy. Dr. Kulkarni is the director of Homeopathic Research Institute. He is emeritus professor for postgraduate, which is MD courses in homeopathy at multiple centers all over the country. Dr. Kulkarni is famous for his innovative and novel ideas about case taking, classical homeopathy, repertory, materia medica, homeopathic philosophy, and he is the author of Homeopathy Through Harmony and Totality. This book is a series of 4 volumes, 4 enriching volumes, which Bijan Publishers proudly takes into their name. So, what we are going to talk about today is the concept of holistic healing. We'll be talking about the general principles, the natural principles of homeopathy through a framework of life and health. We will also get a new perspective on the multidimensional aspects of homeopathy. We will discuss homeopathy and human existence from biological inheritance to environmental influence. And lastly, because Dr. Kulkarni is a very senior homeopath, and almost all of us know him as an international professor, we will like to take Dr. Kulkarni's expert advice, expert tips on the practical application of these natural principles in our daily practice. So, welcome, sir. Over to you.
So sorry for the technological problem, which is a part of our life, philosophy of life. Are you with me? Are you able to listen to me?
Yes, sir. You're audible.
I was talking to you about the homeopathic philosophy. Being a life philosophy, it is complex. Everything about human is a complex because human structure, the mental structure and the physical structure, encompassing the universe, is a very deep process and therefore complex. Naturally, I have a feeling that the medical science must be based on 2 things. Not only on anatomy, physiology, and pathology and biochemistry. They are important. But something basic than these are homeopathic philosophy, rather philosophy of life, and then psychology. And I think because we have gone away from these two in medical science and structured ourselves in the curriculum, in the syllabus, related to anatomy and physiology, we have huge problems. We see the disease in the body. We see the disease in the biological cells. And then we have a reductionist approach to life. We have a reductionist approach to health, disease, and cure. We don't know what is cure. Blood pressure level is reduced. Is it a cure? Very serious question. Metabolism is disturbed because of mental processes involved, and gout is better, serum uric acid is better. Patient problems are unresolved. Is it cured? All these questions come up in the rational mind of a homeopath. They must come. And one who has to think of medical science as a healing science, we need to uplift ourselves from this Cartesian reductionist principle of therapy. This is what homeopathy propounds. This is what homeopathy should disseminate as a very important fundamental information to the ailing humanity, to the healthy humanity also. And this is the need of the hour. So my books are there. I started writing since my second year of homeopathic college. I wrote more than 164 papers on homeopathy. All these volumes on homeopathy, 4 volumes contain only 87 chapters. So you can see still I have to offer more than 70 chapters in homeopathy. Yeah. It's a huge philosophy, must be presented in a digestible, palatable way, in a sweetish manner. And the bitter truths of health, disease, and cure must be present in the sweet language, not in a dry language. And I am the one who will always think that homeopathic philosophy and practice, such a beauty of science and art together, should not become a dry subject of research papers in future. Research is necessary, but homeopathy, being an artistic therapy, should not be and caged within the so-called research papers. The PQRS, the beauty of it, the personality treatment of homeopathy, the beauty of it is far beyond the so-called research papers. It is an artistic one. I have presented in my book all these concepts together. Today's presentation will be number 1 related to volume 1 of Harmony and Totality. I will give you some of the gleanings, excerpts of this book so that you will have a panoramic view of what I have presented and you can lay hands on. So I will begin my presentation now. You can ask me the questions in between also. At the end, I have kept some 15 to 20 minutes. So I will share the screen. Be with me. Yeah. 87 chapters. The name is Homeopathy to Harmony and Totality. Yeah. These are the 2 words which are the basis of homeopathy, harmony and totality. So the harmony, we allow the system to use the regulatory mechanisms and we achieve the homeostasis at the physiological level, mental peace and happiness. And the lost self, the self which is not understood, the concept of self is not clear. And this is one of the reasons of the ill health. This is one of the reasons of the so-called stress. This is the reason why we don't understand the very philosophy of living. So the first volume is allotted for 2 things. The philosophical part, and the second is mind and above. There is a foreword by Alexander Maltushev, an MD physician in allopathy who turned to homeopathy from Moscow, who translated all of my 26 books from English into Russian. I spoke more than 50 seminars at Moscow. He translated all my seminars. Very intelligent homeopath. And he gave a very fitting foreword volume number 1. And they covered all the 4 volumes together. And there is a prologue which I wrote long back. What are the contents of the first volume? There are 18 chapters. First is a chapter, Homeopathy and Integrated System. In this chapter, I have dealt with the philosophy at large. I also deal with questions and answers of the intelligent people, not only our students of homeopathy and allopathy critics, but also our patients who have huge questions about homeopathy. Then there is an article written by me, Homeopathy Ahead. I want to project homeopathy at a deep level of every home. I think homeopathy is also second name of homeopathy. So whatever technological progress which we have, the way in which AI is entering into homeopathy, where homeopathy will go, all these discussions have been incorporated in Homeopathy Ahead. Then I wrote more than 40 pages on the law of similars in medical science. I think the basis of understanding homeopathy for every student of homeopathy is what exactly is homeopathy? What exactly is the law of similars? Then perceiving life processes through the holistic lens of homeopathy, which is a very important contribution from my side, how I can integrate many concepts in the life of holistic medical therapies to be integrated with homeopathy. In a way, I did a pioneering work of integrating body language with homeopathy. Then Ayurveda and homeopathy, conceptual understanding and their correlations. Then yoga, holism, and homeopathy. It is amazing to note that yoga and homeopathy share a lot in common. There are so many resemblances between them. Trinity in holism, Sattva, Rajatama, Vat, Pitta, Kapha, and many ideas. And our trio concept in homeopathy being presented in a holistic manner. Then essence of miasms. I have tried to present this concept in terms of understanding several concepts which evolve after Hanuman. And I believe that all the diseases under the sun could be categorized under the four miasmatic divisions, Sora, psychosis, tubercle, and syphilis. I have made some big contributions in this field of miasms, and I have outlined a very outstanding chart which is used by many practitioners in the world. This chart has been followed in clinical practice, which is based on the concept of the energy. How the energy is very important to perceive the direction, the pace, the speed, and the pathology, functional as well as structural. And I am sure this chart will allow you to incorporate, categorize each disease condition very well according to the stages of the disease. Then latent Sora practical approach is a article written by Alexander Marcus, a very important contribution from Alexander. How latent Sora needs to be studied by every homeopath. The 10th chapter is Dispositions. I think this is one of the big contributions from my side when I study the mind, how the study of the dispositions, the study of the characters of the humans must be integrated because no emotion is solo and mono. All cluster of emotions, cluster of faculties of the intellect, cluster of the mental processes. These all make up our personality, where temper and temperament and constitution and diathesis are united. Because nothing is separate and individual isolated. It is within the framework of holism. No one has a total independent autonomous field. So there is Advait. And I think that the Advait philosophy being presented in Hinduism and being then elaborated by Gautam Buddha must be studied by each homeopath. Then I have written on stress in the relationship with also cardiovascular response, anxiety dimensions and miasmatic assessment. I have written over many basic emotions. In this volume number 1, anxiety, guilt, grief, and anger. These 4 emotions I have presented. I have a feeling that our students take up the rubric anger violent, fury, rage, anger easily. But they do not study what anger is. This is very important that homeopath must know what is anger. He must know the contributions in psychology and psychiatry about anger. Then it is very easy to integrate. It is very easy to select a corresponding rubric in homeopathy. Then comes, you will find interpersonal relationship and homeopathy. I'm going to give you the gleanings of each chapter. Excess holding and homeopathy. People today are suffering not only because of deficiency, but also because of excess. If I go in your home as a visitor, Dr. Ajit Kulkarni become a visitor of your home, there may be more than 15 to 20 ball pens in your home. Maybe 2 or 3 are working. This is what you are able to see. Yeah. So I have written how excess in emotions, excess in relationship, excess as a materialistic, feed, fried concept of instinct. How it rules and develops the sickness when you will take the rubric selfishness. Then the dreams travel anywhere without a ticket. So it is in this way you will find 9 chapters related to philosophy and 9 chapters related to the mind. That makes up volume number 1. Other emotional study is going on and it will be a part of the volume number 5. I have just completed 3 emotional responses of the human beings being integrated with homeopathy, materia medica, and the report. So we have now some selective and significant offerings from each chapter. How our book has been understood by many intelligent people in the world. Being an international teacher, many people, very good people, hardworking people are in contact with me. They are my best teachers. Like my best teachers are also my students and my patients. So Alexander says that I have been working in close proximity with Dr. Kulkarni and feel immense joy in expressing my opening remarks about this harmonious compilation of his work on homeopathy. Nearly no aspect of importance and vital homeopathic moments escape from the penetrating and attentive eye of Dr. Kulkarni, because I wrote on 87 chapters. It's amazing that he does these efforts in his inimitable style in spite of his busy homeopathy practice, travel in many countries, etc., etc. So he's amazed, but I am not amazed because writing is my favorite thing. I am a voracious reader and I want to integrate homeopathy to give homeopathy its intrinsic merit of Buddhism, which homeopathy deserves. Alexander says that he's happy that my precious, invaluable treasure has not gone into oblivion. I write because my writing should not disappear. Magan Bhai Desai was one of the greatest homeopaths from Surat, Gujarat. His only one book is present, that is Coma and its homeopathy treatment. Do you know how much writings he has? Many, many write-ups, but not a single book is yet published. So we are lost many of his case papers. We have lost his thinking process. Do you know Wells? You know Kent, but you do not know Wells because no book of Wells is present. Wells wrote more than 100 papers on homeopathy. No one knows. Many of the writings of Boger were compiled together and collected works of Boger was then presented. Then people knew, yes, Boger wrote much more than we knew. So I'm happy and I really feel obliged to Jain publishers who didn't allow my writings to be disappearing. Homeopathy an integrated system and homeopathy ahead are the best specimens to introduce homeopathy to the readers, and they combine the basic ideas and modern insights. Through the lab simulation medical science, Dr. Ajit Kulkarni has positioned the salubrious value of homeopathy in a convincing manner by uprising the curative principle of similia as followed in several medical disciplines. Do you know all medical faculties apply, follow the lab similars in one way or the other, in sophisticated way or unsophisticated way? I have just compiled and presented in my own style. A very important contribution for each homeopath who want to answer what is the basis of your science. I gave this article for reading to many allopaths. And they told me, yes, now I understand, we understand, yes, there is something in homeopathy. And therefore, I think that lab similar stands as a connecting thread between all medical therapies. Mathematical understanding, I have already talked about this. Then personality types, study of dispositions, many techniques in old and new psychological modules, psychoanalytical methods are there, and it is very important to integrate them. Teachings of Ajit Kulkarni have case taking and interview skills. I have given many clinical tips in my article on interpersonal relationship. How father's characters could help a homeopath to understand patient's characters by understanding the relationship as an evolving relationship. Whether this relationship is very good, disturbing, and toxic. This is what I wrote in the prologue, Homeopathy, Science and Art. Both science and art are the human attempts to understand and describe the world around us. Both are related to knowledge, but it is the art that represents it in the form of subjectivity, while science represents it in the system of acquiring knowledge. In short, art is subjective while science is objective. Art is individualistic and is driven by emotions and self-expression, while the science is driven by facts and figures. Allopathy is more after statistics, figures, and facts, less artistic, more scientific, with huge reductionist, inadequate scientific footing and presentation. Science begins with the physical, observable, concrete occurrences in the world, and scientists generate abstractions that communicate their understanding of these phenomena, while the artists deal with intellectual creativity given their talent and skill. This is homeopathy. A homeopath must be a creative, logical analyzer because he must be an artist and he also must be a scientist. This beautiful blend is nothing but the line between science and art is blurred, but the fusion of the art and the science allows the intangible to become tangible, making the result excellent. So we must know philosophy, we must know the theory, we must know the concept, we must know the science. And at the same time, we must know how to apply the science into practice. The mutual wealth of both and science, art and science can grow if they blend together in harmony. The ongoing process has to be perceived and maintained by utilizing resources in their fullest possible extent to yield the results. What kind of resources? Understanding philosophy, the science. And what kind of the resources as far as the art is concerned? Methods of data processing. What exactly the symptom? How to look at the symptom? Is symptom enough to understand the disease? What is key symptom and key theme of the case? What is emotion and what is temper and temperament? Are we treating symptoms like allopathy, or we are treating the personality as a whole? The homeopathic artist who has the scientific mind can produce the best results in clinical practice. And the scientist who has the best artistic mind can bring forth the best scientific part of homeopathy. Yes, this is what we have to achieve. We have to offer. A homeopath must be ruled by a set of principles, and at the same time, he must be creative. A bird can aim to fly high, but remember, he has to approach earth for food and shelter. Every homeopath needs to remember this when he tries to soar new heights. A homeopath requires both science and art that should go perpetually parallel. This will help grow and deliver consistent results in clinical practice. Why this title of harmony and totality? Yeah. We know every individual is unique in its essence and is connected to and is in harmony with the world around him in the health. Every individual is inseparable from the world. Separation is a delusion because it's inseparable. Every individual is the unfathomable reality. All differentiations are conceptual. For human life to be complete and balanced, it must consist of the harmony of all dimensions of reality. From the ultimate non-conceptual source to the diverse dimensions of the manifest existence. What you see as a manifest existence of symptoms on the screen, whether truly it mirrors the disease. What is the true sickness? It cannot be understood unless you perceive the totality. All the forms and phenomena of manifest totality in all its physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual dimensions flow together with total and perfect harmony. And this is what we have to achieve. This is what spiritualism says. This is what every religion propounds. And homeopathy represents all religions. It represents the harmony. It represents the totality. It represents the universal consciousness, how to understand. And this unique philosophy of homeopathy, therefore, is the very basis of this very unique science. Oneness and seamless harmony are fundamental to everything, to every phenomenon. Harmony between everything is meaningful. Rather, the meaning is available to you only because there is a harmony. Otherwise, there is a chaos. Chaotic condition, you know very well, suggest to you disharmony. The curative process as evoked after the application of the law of stimulus must follow the path of truth. Otherwise, destination is difficult. Otherwise, cure is difficult. This truth, this understanding and following the pathway of truth is the very basis of the homeopathic law of similar application. Homeopathy directs the flow of creativity for the sake of harmony to be maintained within and without through totality by following the path of truth. Homeopathy attunes to the dynamism of being and leads towards the implicit harmony. Therefore, the title of the four volumes and the forthcoming fifth volume is kept Homeopathy through Harmony and Totality. About drug provings, I have written, you must know that when the criticism is that drug proving is not double blind, it is not good. Okay, do you know? When you cure a case, when you relieve a case in your consulting chamber daily, you vindicate the lab similars. You vindicate the principle of individualization. You vindicate the principle of fundamental posology. You vindicate the principle of potentization, dynamization. When reproving of the old one and new provings were done, you will find something scientific came up, something reproducible results came up, which is the so-called necessity of the science. The results are only corroborated the original provings when the provings of many remedies, more than 300 homeopathic polycrest remedies were reproved under double-blind control study. The results are the same. There are a lot of misconceptions. You know very well. I will not read them out, but I have answered them in this chapter. There are so many, you see, confused notions about homeopathy. Yes, this is a subject which I have dealt with about steroids. Do homeopathic remedies contain steroid? The answer is no. A well-selected homeopathic remedy has the capacity to bring about a drastic, even immediate change in the compliance. Many cases. And therefore, people think that homeopathy people use steroids. The commonly performed test to detect steroids is a calorimetric method, which gives a false positive result for any reducing sugar, like aldehyde. And you know very well homeopathic medicines are sugar, lactose, and alcohol based. So these tests, calorimetric method becomes positive when you use sugar pills. But this is not a correct test to say that homeopathy pills contain steroid. So there are three methods. First, Lieberman-Burchell test. Second, thin layer chromatography test. And then UV absorption methods. These methods should be used to differentiate and find out if the substance actually contains steroids or not. Every homeopath must know them. Now the placebo effect. Since Hanuman, there is a criticism 260 years that homeopaths use placebo. I have written over it. I want to write a big chapter on it also. There are some very good arguable points with homeopathy. Who can explain the following observations? Why some patients don't feel better with many homeopathic remedies, but feel better when the right homeopathic remedy is given? Why? I'm treating a patient, I give Naxomica, Belladonna, Bryony, I'm not feeling better. When I give sulfur, I start to feeling better. Why? Because sulfur is a remedy, it is not placebo. Why isn't there always an immediate amelioration of the first remedy, but sometimes only after the fifth or eighth remedy? Because homeopathy is not placebo. Why do patients have strong aggravations when they hope to be cured by homeopathic remedy? Because homeopathic remedies are not placebo. What about homeopathic curative results for babies, animals, and plants? How will you explain the positive results in unconscious and comatose patients? Why the patients not getting cured after allopathic treatment but get cured after homeopathic treatment? Because they are not placebo. Why some visible organic structural problem disappear after homeopathic treatment? Because homeopathy works. We have shown homeopathy works. Now, better you don't call homeopathy placebo, please. And for your information, placebo is one of the best treatments in many patients. Patient doesn't need medical treatment. He needs placebo treatment. So don't underestimate. I will be happy if mainstream medicine starts using placebo. I will be the happiest physician over this planet. Homeopathy is ideally placed to be a part of the solution rather than part of the problem. You understand why this is written. Homeopathy is one of the greenest medical modalities. It has a very small, sustainable footprint. It doesn't pollute. It is not tested on animals. The experience of taking a homeopathic remedy often awakens us at a deep, profound level to the interconnectedness of all living things and helps us to recognize separation both as an individual scale and also on the global scale. If I am not wrong, homeopathy is a very good answer to the war and violence today. Time will show that materialism in its many guises is destroying our beautiful home, the earth, and that homeopathy, with its gentle yet effective microdoses, is the perfect medical modality for the 21st century. I have just quoted this Homeopathy and Sustainability by Mary Home, 2012, Homeopathy Plus newsletter. The lab similars, how I have presented through many parts. Introduction, part 1, what is it? The discovery of the lab similars, the formulation of the lab similars, furtherance of the lab similars, corollaries of the lab similars. Then part 2, the lab similars and its history. Do you know Hippocrates, the father of medicine, wrote extensively on the lab similars? But mainstream medicine doctors do not know Hippocrates' contribution to the lab similars. If you regard Hippocrates as the father of medicine, you must respect him in all ways possible. Why injustice over Hippocrates? Paracelsus, Aristotle, Baldock, Betharding, Stahl, Ayurveda, Sanskrit write-up, ancient Chinese writing, traditional Chinese medicine, aunts and Professor Su's law, biphasal action, everything you must know very well. The application of the law of similars is the sub-chapter, part 3 of the law of similars in medical science, not only in homeopathy. So I have explained physiotherapy, mechanical manipulation, spondylotherapy, dietetics, psychotherapy, psychology, psychiatry, acupuncture, modern medicine. Do you know 250 drugs in allopathy work according to the law of similars, including lanoxin, decoxin, digitalization, many methods, many chemotherapeutic agents. Part 4, the law of similars as a universal doctrine, prophylaxis and the law of similars, law of similars and self-recovery, law of similars and human phenomenon, limitations of the law of similars and conclusion. Only one jotting. Homeopathy conceives the disease in terms of human phenomenon on the human scale. Because we use the human proving. Everything is human, no? We use the language of the human being. It is not only physiological, pathological, and biochemical language. A disease is understood at a deep level. What is the experience? What is the vital feeling inside? What ails the patient? Disease is not primarily a disorder of molecules, cells, or any other abstraction. It is actually a deed, an expression of one's deepest beings. It belongs to one's biography, and no account of human illness would be complete without perceiving it in relation to the Qurani's life history. Can you keep patients like away from the sickness? Why? Why to keep? Symptom is not only a manifestation but a phenomenon. The phenomenological approach of homeopathy deals with the human being in totality. In other words, human synthesis in human design for human purpose is the very basis of the connecting thread between allopathy and homeopathy, between Ayurveda and homeopathy, between acupuncture and homeopathy is only law of similars. We need to give deep knowledge of the law of similars from the first year of the college, from first BHMS. Then the scientific part, the fundamental part of homeopathy will be highlighted. About yoga, I have written homeopathy and yoga in unison make a wonderful, salubrious combination to uplift human beings from the rubbish heap they are in, trapped mentally, emotionally, physically, and socially. Because yoga is also stepwise, no? Asana, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi, stages, no? Mathematical steps, no? Homeopathy, mathematical steps like, although homeopathy is not mathematics. Homeopathy strives to understand the steps of diseases in a chronological way, in an anamnesis. How this person became sick and what exactly is true sickness. In the disposition chapter, chapter number 10, I have presented this very important chart, resources. The resources means what kind of the, you see, ball, power you possess. First, you have willpower, no? My patient of depression was telling me, I have lost my willpower. So willpower is like an engine of a motor car. Then comes the motivation, like battery and starter of a car. Then come drive, the petrol. And then the commitment, like the driver of a car. Now apply the Freudian concept of id, ego, and superego. Due to nuclear families today, the resources of the human beings are less. In a big family, joint family, human resources much more. Knowledge itself is a very big resource. No? Do you know the research? Intelligent people suffer less from cardiac and metabolic diseases. Lifestyle will make them is a different idea because they know how to deal with the situation in a far better. This is the resource for you. I study Maternal Medica and I decided in 1991 that unless I read one page of Maternal Medica, I would not go to sleep. So it became a resource for me. So what is the conclusion of the disposition chapter, which I think one of the best chapters for the homeopath to understand the personality. The homeopathic concept of sickness is personality itself is sick. Every person has his or her unique input, output functions, and self is an umbrella term for the sum of all these functions. Same language you see, only words are different. The theme, the meaning is the same. A homeopath needs to explore the uniqueness of an individual through the matrix. Matrix means totality. Totality of personality makes a large headway to perceive the nonsense. The different shades of personality refined, you could understand better with the concept of totality. Beyond the illness, there is a person. Beyond the symptoms, there is a system. The study of disposition allows a homeopath to perceive the evolution that an individual passed through. The perceptual feature of an individual is largely dependent on the dispositions which shape up the human experiences one has to encounter in his or her life. Chapter number 13. This is a chapter about the emotion shame, just dimension of shame. I have prepared more than 15 new rubrics in this chapter. One of my rubrics is existential shame. Very interesting, no? Patient wants to make a suicide because of shame. The concept of existential shame has been presented by many psychologists and just trying to integrate. Then our students will understand this rubric in a far better way. I explain this one. So I explain this in relationship with reporting and material medicals. So dimensions of shame are related to shame and curiosity, shame and guilt, shame and conformity, shame and culture, shame and pride. Do you know pride has a big role to play in shame? Do you know why Aram suffers? No. When his position is down, when his pride is being thwarted. And we have a rubric, no? Disappointment in ambition. Aram group in general. This all study has been put forward in this volume. And every emotion has been described by me with all these integrating components so that our homeopath vision becomes larger. About anger, I have differentiated between many remedies because this is what is needed in clinical practice. Chamomilla is cross, Tapisagri has indignation. Nakswamika projects his sensitivity and Colosin has to deal with an offended feeling. Staphysagan and Colosin may suppress their anger, but Nakswamika and Chamomilla cannot hold back. They are definitely going to express. Chamomilla likes to be held and carried. Colo is disinclined to talk. To answer, to see friends, but Nakswamika is sensitive to all impressions, talks about his condition. Staphysagra is more morbidly sensitive to being offended than others and also has the feeling of mortification. Nakswamika is the most chilly of all these remedies. Chamomile and Colosin have a tendency to diarrhea, while Naks and Star have a tendency to constipation. Just differentiation. In the book, you will find plenty of differentiations and clinical tips. Now, chapter number 16. We are now closing to the chapter. I will talk on only 16, 17, 18. Just selected offerings. The disturbed interpersonal relationship acts as a maintaining precipitating cause of the disease which gets manifested in the intra-psychic conflict, leading to somatization mechanism, which again may act as a stressor. Thus, the cause becomes an effect and the effect becomes the cause. The vicious cycle is the setup and continue. This is what happens in relationships now. The consideration of the interpersonal relationship may give a new dimension to our thinking of disease phenomenon. Stressors deviating the immune response can be better identified when one explores the IPR of the patient. Conclusion of this chapter. A homeopathic physician is an important component of the therapeutic context and a facilitator in the healing process. The communication between a homeopath and a patient is a highly subjective and inductive process. Connecting with the patient not only serves to establish a complex set of relationships, but also serves many functions which in turn reinforce the trust and the help of the scar. The skill based and inductively shape interview. So the major component of this IPR helps the homeopath achieve the role of a healer in a far better way. It is also very useful for family constellation, counseling. This interpersonal relationship exploration is a very big theme in homeopathy. This chapter deals with this theme in a elaborating way. Cultivating empathy and developing a deeper connection with the patient is highly possible if a physician focuses on the IPR of the patient. Then there is a chapter excess holding and homeopathy. I talked with you in the initial phase of our presentation today. I am talking only about toxic relations. Lack of cohesiveness in the relationship, no support within the family involved, conflict, disrespect, demeaning others, characterize a toxic relationship. Violence, abuse, and criminal behavior are the red flags of toxic relationship. I prefer to rubric relationships toxic. Acid nitricum, anacardium, varietal malma, platina, staphysagrida, and many other remedies. An active conflict in the relationship may cause the relations to be toxic, but sometimes it becomes compulsive for many people to continue the toxic relations. Toxic relations are the major causes of illness for human beings and outweigh the infectious diseases. In the so-called lifestyle diseases, the role of toxic relations cannot be underestimated. People suffer more from toxic relations than infections. So now we have to turn from antibiotics to something different to treat modern civilized people. Toxic relations irritate, erode. The honor is eroded. The esteems are confronted. The self-image is destroyed. Challenge, hurt feeling, offended feeling over years and brooding. And the individuals involved cannot cope up or not. Chapter 18, last chapter on dreams. You need not buy a ticket. There is no window. You yourself is a window. Without money, you can travel everywhere. Dreams may be intriguing, ridiculous, mundane, or frightening, but what do our dreams really mean? Where do they come from? This is being explained in this chapter, last chapter of this book. The cause of the dream is not material or physical in nature, hence it is difficult to understand. So dreams need interpretation. Let us take fears. Fears are qualified mental symptoms. Directly you can take them for rubrics. Dreams need interpretation. Dreams should not be relegated to the low as they reveal the inner mental state in a far clearer way, subconscious field. The mind has the ability to release repressed fears, anxiety, and wishes through the conceptual imagery. That is the coded language of the subconscious brain through the dreams. The magnesium group, it has more than 100 dreams came out through the proving. The subconscious field is being opened up. Although at the conscious level, there is a communication block in magnesium. Thus, we are able to understand the personality of magnesium in a far better way when we focus upon the dreams of negation. Those dreams which are frequent, often more important than occasional dreams, of course. So, summary: Harmony in Totality, Volume 1 is devoted to philosophy, mind and above. Philosophy is presented through 9 chapters. Mind section is presented through further 9 chapters. 300 pages, chapters 18, and the price is only 499. Published by B. Jain. You can buy the book from B. Jain or from me also. We will courier you the book and it will be at your doorstep. So now I'm open to you as far as your questions are concerned. Yeah. Are you with me?
Thank you, sir. That was really insightful. Sir's book, all four volumes, will be available to everybody. They can visit our website, or they are also available on Amazon. Or, as sir said, you can directly take it from sir also.
If you
And
take from me, I will give you the autograph.
that would be great, sir. That would be great for so many students.
You
Uh,
know, uh, at the Lika Congress, 3, 4 years back, these all four volumes, they were in a rough dimension at that time, but were released by Fridtjof Capra, one of the great scientists of the world. I am really feeling proud of myself that Fridtjof Capra is a great motivator for me. He was nominated for Nobel. He wrote several books. He believes in holism. He read my book on body language and homeopathy, and then we got connected. So these books are being graced by a scientist also. This is a proud moment for homeopaths also.
that's true, sir. We can move on to the question answer, sir. So if anybody has any questions, you can write down on the chat box that is given at the bottom of your screens.
Yeah.
Till then, we have a few questions, sir. Initially, you talked about the parallelism between Ayurveda and homeopathy. So, the student, he wants to know what is the parallelism between Ayurveda and homeopathy. If
Very,
you could explain that.
yeah. Very good. You see, first, law of similars used by both Ayurveda and homeopathy. Although Ayurveda also uses law of dissimilars. Second, in a way, we potentize in Ayurveda, there is also potentization. Mardanam, Gunavardhanam. And many of the allopathic remedies are used in a potentized manner. In which they prepare, it is very akin to the process of trituration and sarcasm. There are some other aspects which I have thoroughly explained. There is a constitutional thinking which you see in Ayurveda, also in homeopathy. The concept of totality is unique in Ayurveda and in homeopathy. Diathesis and constitution and four miasmatic divisions are also part of the Ayurvedic thinking in terms of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha and Pancha Mahabhuta. In my article, I have tried to integrate the concepts of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, prepared some rubrics on that, and also in relationship with Pancha Mahabhuta. So there is a big scope to integrate Ayurveda with homeopathy. Then concept of a disease you will find has much resemblance in homeopathy and Ayurveda. In a way, we regard that no disease is local, every disease is general, pertaining to the patient as a whole. Ayurveda has the same concept of Prakriti. So they try to understand the locals in terms of the system,
Hmm.
how this biological system, the prakriti is affected. And we do the same thing. About the causes of the disease, the following three things are necessary for the onset of any disease in Ayurveda. Nidanas are predisposing causes, which vitiate the dosha themselves, and dushvas or the deranged dhatus. Now, in homeopathy, you will find we deal with the same thing, exactly the same. There are three factors necessary for the origin of the disease in homeopathy: the host, the offending agent, and the susceptibility of the host, the person involved. So you will find same resemblances are available. Concept of diagnosis in homeopathy and Ayurveda, very striking similarities are present. Both work at the level of totality. Stages of the disease, homeopathic approach and Ayurvedic approach, you will find striking similarity. About the stages of the diseases, you will find in Ayurveda, each disease passes through 6 stages: Sanchaya, Prakopa, Prasara, Sthana, Sansarya, then Vyakta Avastha, Rupa, then Bheda. Each stage presents its own signs and symptoms. And knowing the stage of the disease is important from the therapeutic point of view, because the same medicine may not be useful, even may prove harmful when the stage is not understood very well. In homeopathy, same no. Today in the morning, patient has extreme thirst, and in the evening he has become thirstless. You will think no. Tomorrow's remedy may not be the same. Today you gave in the morning arsenic album. Now patient has turned to ipecac also. May turn to naxonica, may turn to pulsatil. The stage of the disease based on the miasmatic energy is nothing but the way of understanding the disease process, the disease evolution, which is the same like in Ayurveda. So role of diet and lifestyle, homeopathy approaches in a holistic way. Sources of the remedy, you will find again almost the same: animal kingdom, vegetable kingdom, and also the mineral kingdom. Therefore, there are a lot of similarities between two pathies.
So that's true. In fact, what you said that the patient may go on from one medicine to different medicine. You can, you go on removing the peels, and the patient will go on opening up to you.
Yeah, yeah. Because the healing process was allowed to develop several ways of
Different
coping up mechanisms.
medicines.
Yeah, and we need,
Recently, yoga has been added to the syllabus, sir. So
yes,
there's another question that why is this so, and how do you see that yoga in homeopaths? Because
see,
talked about
yoga
yoga.
is added, yoga is added because yoga represents the mind-body connection. Yoga tries to achieve something our pills cannot, chemical pills cannot. Homeopathy can. So the concept of mind body as a coordinate system, its appraisal, its understanding, its connections. Yoga does the same thing. Homeopathy does the same thing. If it is in the syllabus yoga, it means that yoga is very useful and they share a symbiotic relationship. I advise my patients to follow yoga with homeopathy with very good success. I do yoga every day for 1 hour because I'm a homeopath. Because I want to practice homeopathy to understand me, myself, the true I within me, the concept of self. And concept of self is central to understanding homeopathic philosophy. So yoga and homeopathy share the same thing. Like the philosophy of life, Ayurveda and homeopathy share the same thing, although there are some differences also. Yeah.
Uh, so next, Dr. Anupam Kumar, he wants to know, please throw some light on the chart of miasm and energy that you talked about in the beginning.
Yeah. Okay, I will show you this chart. This is the chart. One second. This is the chart which is presented in this book. There are, you see, totally uh, 15 points which have been used to present the whole theme of miasms. This is a very important contribution from my side, and actually, the chart represents the stages of the disease, what is unique to each miasm, how you will translate every disease with its respective stage into respective miasmatic cleavage. Let us take, for example, I will give you an example. Uh, Activity index in SORA, hyperactivity in SORA, in psychosis, hypoactivity, in tubercular reactivity, and in syphilis, split activity and then no activity. Let us have vitality as a criteria, good reservoir of energy in SORA, moderate reservoir in psychosis, moderate to low in tubercle, and low reservoir in syphilis. Then sensitivity, high sensitivity you will find in SORA. Therefore, SORA is called as a sensitizing miasm. In psychosis, you get low sensitivity. In tubercular, you get high sensitivity again because of combination of SORA and syphilis together. And in syphilis, you will get low sensitivity. So reaction. In SORA, you will find struggling with outside world strong than normal towards right direction. There is a struggle, but in order to achieve homeostasis, you will always find the right direction being, you see, followed by a soric subject. In psychosis, sluggishness is present in all areas at all levels. Poor reactivity to stimuli. In tubercular, erratic, violent, aberrant, poverty of control, and forced mobilization. In syphilis, you will get two type of processes: active destructive and passive degenerating. Let us take characters, pattern of response. In pattern of response, sudden, erratic, and alternating in SORA. In psychosis, you will find irregular, periodic, lingering, static, and progressive. In tubercular, you will find sudden, erratic, shifting, progressive, changing, continuous, and recurrent. In syphilis, you will find sudden, erratic, progressive, and also static. No response at all, or dynamic condition. So it is in this way, many of the issues of 15 points have been, you say, recognized and being differentiated through this chart. Yeah.
Sir, another question. This is a little interesting. Somebody is asking if Ovirinum is being prescribed for, say, PCOD. Uh, it is actually estrogen. If we go on repeating it, we prescribe it in repeated doses. Should it not be considered as HRT, the hormonal replacement therapy?
Please
Because you're prescribing it in low dose and repeated.
see, we are using sarcores in a potentized way, not in a crude physiological dose. So, to replace it with the hormone, what is done being allopathic cannot be achieved with homeopathy. You cannot treat a patient of juvenile diabetes with insulin homeopathy because the insulin which is required in juvenile diabetes is very much. crude. That, that is the main difference. Second difference, our sarcode is for regulatory mechanism to achieve. Many of these cases are given estrogen is large quantity and they cause huge side effects. Our estrogen in potentized form will try to antidote the side effects of them. And they also work at the level of the immune mechanism, where regulatory mechanisms have to be achieved because the field of endocrinological axis is disturbed. So naturally, whether you are repeating or whether you are not repeating is totally dependent upon the case in hand. Some cases may require repetition, some cases may not require repetition. As a homeopath, you must be in both. When necessary, repeat. When necessary, only. If you do not want to repeat, as science tells you, data of the patient tells you, you should not repeat at all. So as a homeopath, you must have in both fields of repetition and no repetition. This is what individualization is allowing you to do a right action. You should be guided by each individual's data and you must follow rigidly individualization. And individualization doesn't mean freedom unlimited. This sentence is very important in homeopathy because you are a creative individual targeting physician. Your resources cannot be, your ways of dealing with cannot be unlimited because they must be bound by the boundary of science. Yeah.
Also, sir, repetition and potency selection that will vary depending on the susceptibility of the patient, on the age of the patient. All
There
that
are
will also.
Yeah, there are 9 components on which I build up the posology. B. Jain published my book on homeopathic pathology. Unfortunately, I am writing a enlarged edition and I am unable to find the time. But I think within a span of around a year, we will come out with a big volume on homeopathic pathology where each component will be described with cases. Yeah. So there are
So I
nine
think
components.
the homeopathic world really means that, particularly students, because we are really confused on how to select the potency, how to select the dosage and repetition schedule.
But you see,
Uh,
over the years of 250 years, really speaking, a standardization about posology could be made. It is not that cannot be made. Of course, 100% standardization in homeopathy, because homeopathy is based on individual targeting is impossible. At the most, even if you go beyond 70 to 80% in standardization of posology, it is a big contribution to homeopathy. Yeah,
true, sir.
yeah.
Sir, another question. This is also very interesting. What is your opinion on the upcoming branch of agro homeopathy? Is it true that homeopathy can affect plants also? Because drug proving is normally conducted on humans, and to some extent, it can be applied to animals. So, your opinion?
First thing is that plants are living beings. They are dynamic entities with their emotions, with their expectations, with their ambitions, with their nectar, with their, you see, something as a creative production. What your production of the gulab, the rose? Do you understand? The final product is the flower, no? You know, Brahma Kamal, it appears only once within a year. Why? Because this is the mission. This is the desire. I will produce. This is my creativity. Try to see plant is not away from humans, away from the human. You see animals. And for the plant king, homeopathy has a lot to offer in terms of agro-homeopathy. Rather, I think this is the branch of homeopathy which will make homeopathy more universal, more acceptable. And we should push this branch because humans will believe on agriculture more rather than humans. You do any kind of the research, all of we don't criticize because these are the people who have in the brain combination of two: ignorance about homeopathy and concept, that is ahankar. Ignorance and ahankar, when they come together, you go into non-acceptance zone. So if you want homeopathy to be promulgated at a deep level in the society, you must believe on homeopathy. And there are so many research papers. There was a homeopath who died a few years back, whose name was Kaviraj, an American homeopath who took the name of an Indian man and did very big research over homeopathy. I was in Italy for giving seminars over there many times. And one of my organizers showed me her research over the agriculture. She made double blind control studies. For a few days, this medicine over this plant, then placebo, and all these things together under the very able scientists who look after the research. And the results were fantastic. Our calendula, our graphitis, our eucalyptus, thuja are found to be extremely useful in agrohomeopathy. In Maharashtra, near my city, there is a small village called as Lonand, where people are using homeopathy more and more. For several acres of land, just they spray calendula. And the result is that more blossoming, more cropping up of the plant. So this is a very interesting field for homeopathy. And no drug proving is needed. No. Drug proving is one aspect of homeopathy. Clinical homeopathy is also another aspect. Doctology, another aspect. We use extrapolation of the pathologies as a part of the indications of homeopathic pathologies. No? Why? If plumbum in crude form causes lead encephalopathy, this itself becomes a very strong symptom for a homeopath to use plumbum when the mind has become dull, like lead encephalopathy. So, you don't intermingle and confuse that there is no drug proving there, but how you can use homeopathy. No, you can use homeopathy in a clinical way, and clinical way is one of the interesting aspects of homeopathy also. Though I believe that totality and proving are very, very basic. Sometimes clinical homeopathy works. Let us take, for example, eel serum in chronic renal failure. It works in many cases. May not be useful in all cases. This is life, you see. You have to use, you have to see, you have to experiment. And homeopathy as a human science must grow, grow, and grow in all fields possible. And you know, quantum physics and water memory and nanoparticles all are giving so much impetus and fundamental aspects to homeopathy to grow. You will find in 21st century much, much changes occurring in homeopathy. There is a recent research report in Europe where 78% people in Europe consume homeopathy in one way or the other. What is this? We are going in very well speed. Leaps and you see bounds. We are just progressing very well. So enjoy homeopathy by giving justice to the patient by taking totality and processing of the data. Yeah.
So there's a whole documentary on this water memory and the researches that have been conducted in Japan and all.
Yeah.
And plus, India is an agricultural land, so probably later on, someday in future, we'll have homeopathic fertilizers and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you know the insecticides and pesticides and all these nitrogen fertilizers are literally huge problem creating. And we need something safe. We need something organic. We need something natural. And we need something where our all homeopathy allows the earth to be more natural and greenery. This is what is the need of the hour. So people
Yes, sir. We
must
need to
approach
go back
homeopathy.
to nature.
All
Yes.
environmentalists in the world must approach homeopathy by disregarding themselves all the notions and prejudices. Beyond prejudice is a rational therapeutic. Hanuman wrote 250 years ago. Never believe on conjecture and imagination. Prove that homeopathy is true. No one prove. Anyone who tried to prove homeopathy is wrong has proved that homeopathy is not a placebo. Yeah.
Sir, another question is by Dr. Sujit Swami. Please elaborate on the difference between disposition and attributes.
Dispositions are of two kinds: innate, original, you are born with it, and then acquired. Attributes are just characters, but dispositions are more like glued to the personality. Intelligence of Einstein was a disposition of Einstein. It was not an attribute. Attribute is a word which is mostly used for just a character, which may be superficial. In disposition, we talk of something where you cannot separate that character, that quality, that temper, that temperament, that emotion away from the personality. It is glued together. It is inseparable. Let us take example of acquired disposition. A very calm and quiet person is being accused and he is in the jail, and daily police are beating him in the jail. This calm and quiet man slowly became very, very angry. And then anger became a part of his personality. This is acquired dispositional character. Unless you treat him with the love similars healing, he cannot separate his anger from his personality. So much is the power. So something chipak gaya, something glued like a fevicol. You cannot separate it. So consistent, deep, of deep magnitude and intensity as a character is called as a disposition. And every human being is born with all the emotions, almost all the intellectual faculties. In the same way, everyone has got almost all the dispositions. They differ in degree and level, and that makes each one unique. The kind of the anger which I possess, other person doesn't possess. The kind of the anger anacardium possess, pulsatilla doesn't possess. This is the individualization. So disposition talks to you about something which is fundamental, basic, at the level of temper, temperament, those characters which are conscious. This word is very important to understand as far as dispositional characters are concerned.
Okay. Dr. Bhagyavati Patel, thank you so much for guiding us, sir. Uh, Indeed, that's true. Thank you, sir. If we go on with this question answer round, I think we'll overshoot the time. So we'll meet sir again. We're leaving this the New Year weekend. So that all of you can enjoy your New Year, and we can meet back in the first week of January. We're taking an appointment from sir, and such an insightful discussion. This will happen again on the second volume now.
Right,
Uh,
right.
so all of you can meet us again. And thank you so much, sir. Thank you for giving us your time.
This is my lifetime work, and I have kept my studentship while writing. When I was a student, of course, now also I am a student. What difficulties I face, I try to answer them. My books are the answers to a very searching mind of a student like me. Yeah.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, they're very insightful, and because we have worked on it, so I can vouch for it. I know it how what a hard work has gone behind, and they're absolutely available on our website, on Amazon also. All of you can buy it from there. And a little about 360 is that this is a platform that we have built for all you students, where you can connect with authors and teachers such as Dr. Kulkarni, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. We'll wind up for now.
Yes.
Thank you so
Okay, all
much.
best wishes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah.